Alright, what's up everyone? Epo here, aka Rayo, and I'm back with some Gundam Assemble miniatures. I really want to say Artifact so badly. I'm going to make mistakes, so my apologies. But I was given these a handful of Assemble miniatures from Joe R. Inferno. Thank you once again. And I put together a handful of them, not every single one, but I thought it might be cool if we could take a look at them real quick. We've got the RX-78 right here, and compare them to some other miniatures, including other Gundam miniatures and non-Gundam miniatures like Warhammer and stuff. So let's get started. This is, once again, the RX-78. Good old grandpa, and I think it looks great. A lot of details, or rather, the right amount of details, not overly loaded with stuff, a lot of details, but a really cool pose, and I think that's a great example of the baseline expectations for Gundam Artifact. And so let's just take a look how it compares to some other stuff, including Assemble itself. See, I said, it's just what I said. This is the Zaku, Char Zaku, very cool. And we've got the gun cannon, which I love the pose of the gun cannon. That's great, and the rocky feature there, that's really neat. And this one's my favorite, the Tallgeese. So cool, so detailed. This one had the most amount of parts, and it's a really dynamic pose. You know, between the shield and the weapon and the backpack, it had a bit more parts compared to the other Artifact minis that I had put together. So we also have Gun Tank, so let's take a look at Gun Tank. Pretty neat. This one I'm really excited about painting. But let's take a look at some other miniatures, including Battletech. This is a Battletech Gothic mini. It comes in a blind box, and I got that last year. And it's quite detailed. This one is actually quite detailed, and this is pre-assembled straight out the box. So I didn't have to put anything together. And yes, by comparison, I think that there's a lot more details going on here, but still pretty close. And again, like, the thing that you'll find is that between all of these miniatures, they all kind of are relatively the same height. Let's get out the ruler, and if we go from the bottom of the base to the top of the miniature, we're looking at 5.5 centimeters for the Battletech. And if we go from the bottom of the base up to the top of this Gundam, at the very top of the antenna, just a bit more than 5 centimeters, maybe even also 5.5 centimeters. But here, this is actually a pretty good comparison. The Gun Tank and this Battletech mini. Pretty cool comparison right there. And let's see, what else do we have? We have a Warhammer miniature. So this is a Stormcast Eternal for Age of Sigmar. And let's get Grandpa back in this shot. But again, the height is still pretty close, with the Warhammer mini being a little bit smaller. And while we're on Warhammer, let's take a look at this old Warhammer troll. This is a stone troll that I'm painting. I'm in the middle of painting. And the classic metal Warhammer minis are typically quite smaller than the modern plastic minis that you see nowadays. So even though this troll is supposed to be fairly large, it used to be large, it's much smaller compared to modern minis, regardless if it's Warhammer or not. It's just kind of small. And we have another comparison here, which I have to set up the shot because it's a little awkward. This is a Gundam artifact miniature. Focus. Let's see. Are we going to focus? Are we going to cooperate? There we go. So we have a Gundam artifact miniature. This one's mounted on a large, not a large base, but it's mounted on a base. So I kind of have to put them together like this so that you can kind of see the comparison. So once again, Artifact Zaku 3 and Assemble Zaku 2, Char Zaku, and they are pretty comparable in height. Yeah, we're just having some focusing issues, but yes, this is the Artifact Zaku 3 on the right and the Assemble Zaku 2 Char Zaku on the left. And you can see they're actually fairly close. Fairly close. I'm not really sure if the Zaku 2 is supposed to be just about as big as the Zaku 3. I don't know. You can look that up later, but just as far as the height of the miniatures go, it's pretty close. So that's neat. The artifact minis are a lot more detailed, as you can see, and they come in much more separate parts. There's many more parts to an artifact kit, and there's a little bit of posing, like the head can swivel and some of the arms can move a bit, but they're not really all that posable. And the standard pose, as you can see, is fairly straightforward. Most of the artifact miniatures are like that, whereas the Assemble miniatures are in a bit more of a dynamic pose. Well, I'm not sure if I'd call this a dynamic pose, but you know, going back to something like the RX-78, pretty cool pose, and there's the comparison there. And of course, like I said, my favorite, the Toggies, very cool pose, and that's what you might come to expect with Assemble, yes. No posability, but pretty cool posing. Pretty cool straightforward poses, or rather, pretty cool poses straight out the box. And what else do we have to compare? We have this miniature that I recently painted. And what else do we have to compare? We have this miniature, which I recently painted. It's the SD Gundam Superior Define Zeta Musha Gundam. I just finished this the other day. Pretty happy with it. And once again, we have Grandpa, RX-78, just as a comparison. These SD Superior Define blind box kits are kind of like the Gundam Assemble kits, like the Zaku 3 that I just showed. But there you have it. Another comparison of miniatures. Okay, we have one last comparison. It's the entry grade 1 in 1/44 scale RX-78. Good old Grandpa, and I tried to get him in as close a pose as I could to the Assemble miniature right here. The very same RX-78, and that's the comparison. As you can see, very small, much smaller as a miniature. The RX-78 at 1 in 1/44 scale, whether it's entry grade, high grade, real grade, is known for being a fairly small mobile suit relative to other mobile suits, but it does tower over the miniature version of it for Gundam Assemble. So that's the comparison, guys. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hopefully you found this informative, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.